Welcome to Tough Times Never Last. I'm Mary Binakaj, and with me is the great MK, Michael Kuzilny.
Oh, thank you very much for that introduction. And welcome, viewers. I'm Michael Kuzilny, and Mary's doing a wonderful job. We've got a very special guest who, did you say, spent 25 years in the coppers, and then...
We've got Alyson Richelle. Alyson is a retired senior sergeant.
She the boss.
15 years in the New South Wales Police. Big boss.
Welcome along, Alice.
And she's an advocate for the domestic violence.
Yeah, that's amazing. I read your story and you really turned a negative into a positive, you know, because as you know, I spent 10 years on the police force and years ago in my former life, and the system is sometimes broken, isn't it? And it can cause a lot of stress, but at the same time, you went through a difficult relationship. But who's Alyson?
So thank you so much for having me here. It's an honour and privilege to be able to be here and share a bit about my story. So I'm Alyson Richelle. I'm a mum of 3 amazing neurodivergent kids. So we're a bit of a spicy household. We've all got a few diagnoses, but the labels don't mean anything. It just makes us who we are and helps people understand a bit better. So I was born in Wellington. I was adopted and moved around a bit, and here I am today after putting everything I've experienced in life together to be able to make a difference and help others.
Wow. What made you join the police force?
So I still remember the day. Didn't know what I wanted to do in Year 12. We were at the Easter show in Sydney and we'd come across the police stall and had a chat with them. Didn't want to go to uni but wanted to get into law. Had a chat with the police and they were talking about police prosecutors, and I thought, this could be a good way to get some money, get some experience and get someone else to pay for my law degree. So lo and behold, I applied for the police at the young age of 18 and got accepted in the January after the HSC results were released, and was down in Goulburn a week later. 1999.
Isn't that amazing, viewers? And a senior sergeant is quite a high position. You're running a station and people call you boss, so a very responsible job. And I think Alyson spent some time in child protection and...
Yeah, so I was all over in the police. Started in general duties where most people did. After I think 3.5, 4 years, I found myself relieving as a sergeant, did a lot of custody work, moved into sex crime squad, did child protection, alcohol licensing, all different specialised areas, and all positions where I really wanted to help others and make a real big difference, and was trying to achieve that.
You're a good person, you've got a good heart. And isn't it amazing, Mary, some people just grow old, but I can see this little girl inside Alyson. It's like she should just joined the police force recently, you know. But do you feel really young inside? You get on well with young people?
I do, and especially now that I think I've found something that I'm really passionate about. It's given me that childhood back and the joy to have so much fun and just being here, having these experiences and being able to share. Like I flew down from Brisbane.
That is amazing. And viewers, that's right. We forgot the point. Working in the coppers, but during that time, Alyson's married to a man who's also a police officer and goes through a very, very serious domestic violence relationship. And how do you cope with something like that when you're trying to help others, but at the same time you're stressed, you're negative? Yeah, how do you get through something like that?
So I guess the hard part was I didn't know I was living it. Like we'd been together when I first went to Hornsby, so it was about 2004, and it was about 2014 that I found out that I was even experiencing domestic violence. I wasn't coping. We'd both been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder from the police. I was seeing a psychologist and explaining what's happened, and she said, this is a lot of domestic violence. And I don't think I even grasped what it was when she was talking about it then, because when I was in the police, everything domestic violence we're dealing with was very physical. So your physical assaults, weapons, sexual assaults, and things that you could actually see and touch. So there was evidence there.
Alyson, what are the signs?
So I guess this is where it's really hard. A lot of people think that it's got to be violence, but it's not. There's abuse. So there can be your name calling, there can be your financial control, not being allowed to see friends and families, telling you what you can wear, what you can't wear. Again, it can get more like forcing someone to have sex in a relationship where they don't want to, forcing relationships with your family and friends. So there are so many signs, and a lot of it is subtle and happens behind closed doors, and that's where it's really scary. We think we should be safe at home, but that's probably where most of us are most at risk, is behind those closed doors.
And Alyson, when you met your husband, you know, sometimes we meet somebody at the vibrational level where we're at, you know what I mean? So I always think it's important to fix ourselves before we meet that person, because you're saying PTSD, your part, and him as well?
Yes.
Was it the same incident that caused it?
No, it was very different incidents. And again, I think the whole reason, like, I got involved and the relationship started, because we were both on that same wavelength. Like, when I joined the police, I was only a very young female at 19, and you heard all the rumours that there was a lot of affairs within policing. There was a lot of the control, and relationships didn't work. So I was dead set against wanting to date anyone in the police, because I'd heard so much of this and didn't want to be taking work home. I wanted to be able to go to work and go home. His attitude was very much the same. So we connected, and it built a great foundation, very strong.
And you fell in love?
We did. We fell in love, yes, and have 3 amazing children as a result of that relationship.
That is amazing.
And when did you see the first signs? How long into the relationship?
Oh, I couldn't tell you when I first saw the signs, but it would have been 2014, talking to the psychologist, and I actually, because I wasn't coping with what was going on at home, did a inpatient at St John of God, which some people are going, well, you've been in a psych institution, what do you know? But this was a voluntary chance. It was for me to understand myself, to heal, and understand what was going on. So through this...
Did you see changes within yourself?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was all very subtle. So doing this inpatient, I went in, is there any issues in your relationship, children? Nothing was disclosed. But it was the first time, I guess, I'd actually been by myself. I wasn't having to be a wife, a mother, a carer.
I'll take my hat off to you. Congratulations. And that's so courageous and heroic for you, isn't it? Because sometimes the stressors of life build up, and we all go through them. But when too many come at the same time, we have breakdowns, nervous breakdowns, personal breakdowns, and it's really time to disengage from society and then re-engage and come back even stronger, you know? So that's really great you took time out and and for reflection, because a lot of people don't do that.
No. So, yeah, it was a great chance for me to reflect on where I was going, what I was doing, and I guess how both of us, with our lived experiences and the way just we coped with things in general. I was very much a problem solver, wanting to get answers, whereas he was very much preferred to be within himself and hide from it.
And,
so that clashed.
You guys still mates? No.
No, unfortunately not.
No.
I wish things were better for the kids' sake, but they're not. But one day, hopefully, that will change.
And Alyson, did I read there was another relationship?
Yeah, so...
3 or 2?
2.
2.
So, yeah, more recently, I, again, wasn't looking for a relationship, was on a friendship site, met someone and started off as friends.
Yes.
And then, unbeknownst to me, it continued into very much a coercive control manipulation relationship, which, again, I didn't see the signs, but it was July, after a really big incident where I'd been threatened really verbally, threatened to have my kids removed from me and some horrific stuff. I actually reached out to a support group for defence, because it was a defence partner at the time, to ask what was happening, go, he's saying it's because of his defence background, what can I do? And they were like, it's got nothing to do with defence, it's domestic violence. I was completely shocked.
Why don't people leave
So
when they're in a relationship like this?
That's probably one of the toughest questions that everyone gets asked, and why. And from my own experience, I can completely understand why. So it was the July I found out that I was experiencing domestic abuse, and my children were, and 2 other in my care. Everyone said, why didn't you leave then? No one believed me. Everyone told me, but he's been nice to me. He couldn't do that. But he always had some power or control over me. He had one of my children, he had my pets, he'd moved into my property. So it didn't matter where I went, he was always there. So it took 4 months when I had kids at school, my support workers had my kids, they had my animals, and I had surgery. So it was the first time I'd been free in nearly 4 months.
How old are your kids, Alyson?
I've got a 16-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, and an 8-year-old boy.
Wow, congratulations. And you're living on the Gold Coast?
Up Brisbane way.
Yeah.
So, yes.
How long have you been there for?
So, in the current property, I've only been there a few weeks, but we moved to Queensland end of 2006 to escape a lot of the triggers that we found in New South Wales.
What a lovely, I reckon Alyson's been a great mum. And you know, sometimes it's the challenges in life that make us even more wholesome and real, isn't it? But isn't it amazing, Mary, how people who come on the show are so authentic, you know? So independent towards the opinions of other people, viewers, you know? Of so many people wear their social masks, you know, and we're all suffering at the moment. I think the new power for people is authenticity, you know, that's, and in business as well, Mary, huh? Authentic people are beautiful people, aren't they? They're my favourite people.
They definitely are.
Yeah, you've learned so much.
You come across as authentic, compassionate. I look in and think, how, as a woman, how would you have been able to go to work as a senior sergeant, not bring your problems into work, and be the boss, and juggle your home and your work, and then go back home and keep that aligned? How did you do that? How did no one see like even at work, how did they not pick it up? Were you good at covering?
I think, and this is part of where I've learnt now, being on the spectrum, and especially as a female, I mask really well. So at home I could present one way, at work I could present another, so you didn't really see it. And I guess this is the whole problem with domestic abuse and that sort of thing. A lot of us masks. The way we present to family and friends might be one way, and what we do behind closed doors is another. So people don't always see both sides of it. No one really wants you to see...
Spectrum of...
autism.
Oh, people talk about that, don't they? Do you think, you know, over the years I've had clients and they say, yeah, Michael, but I'm ADHD or something. I said, well, how do you know that? And they said, oh, you know, got diagnosed 15 years ago. I said, no, that was you back then. I think they're temporary sort of things, aren't they?
So I don't know if it's temporary, but I think we learn to evolve and adapt with it.
Right.
So it's very much, it is a disability in some ways, and it is a spectrum. So just like the rainbow's got all the different colours, ASD's got a spectrum. Many might know it as Asperger's, which is a higher level. And then you've got, obviously, your lower functioning, where some people on the autism spectrum might be non-verbal, unable to communicate.
And how does that affect people? Like,
so again,
you're a perfectionist.
It's like everything. There's no one size fits all. It affects everyone differently. So it can affect people in terms of their communication skills, their social skills, daily living. Like, it affects a broad range of things.
Yes.
And usually you'll find it won't impact everyone in the same ways. Like, even a few months ago, I still struggle with lots of things at home. Like, my keeping organised at home is absolute chaos. Keeping on top of the chores at home as a mum. And this is where I guess I learnt, for me doing it for myself, I really struggle. But if I do it for someone else, I can do it with ease.
Is that amazing?
So being able to help others really helps me fill my cup.
Amazing. And that's true, folks, isn't it? Life really is a game of daily clean-up acts, isn't it? Sometimes I get up and I just, you know, if you leave it for too long, the bills pile up, you know, the house gets dirty, clients don't get the phone calls back. But it's so important, and that's why I understand why some people ring up and they say, I've got $30,000 worth of outstanding parking fines, because life is really about daily clean-up acts and being on top of the game, isn't it? Because
fall behind.
We know what it's like when you leave the house for 2 weeks and you come back and everything's dirty and grubby, you know. So that's right. And if the mind's not disciplined, then people can fall behind, can't they? And that's why so many people sort of say, "Oh, I haven't paid my taxes for 4 years" or something. And you really, it's such a complex world now, isn't it? That we really have to stay on top of the game, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have a partner who's loving, non-judgmental, and
Are you dating at the moment?
Supportive.
I've got a close friend at the moment.
Are you more careful now?
Oh, very, very much so careful, especially with the kids. Oh, I guess you got to marry up what they say and what they actually do. So seeing both sides of that, rather than just taking something on face value to say, I will give you everything, or I will do this for you. What do they actually do? What are they actually saying? Are they actually showing that care and concern for you, asking, are you okay? And if you've meant something, it might be in passing. When you actually catch up, they're actually going, well, what happened? How can we help? And working together as a team.
So how do you differ from somebody being so compassionate and caring to somebody that's being coercive? Somebody could be showing so much compassionate and messaging and dating and wanting to see you, but then how do you separate that and see red flags from someone that can be abusive and controlling?
I guess it depends on how they're doing it and in what context. So I guess someone who cares, they might send you constant messages during the day. But is there a back and forwards flow with the conversation? Are they asking you what you're doing? Is it a genuine care? Or are they going, well, where are you? What are you doing? When are you going to be home? Are they bombarding you with all these questions? Do they have you on possible apps where they can track you and see your location? And if they go, well, your app says you're here or you're not online, that's where I guess it raises a bit more of a question. So and it can be such an iffy area because someone who could really care is going to want to know where you are because they want you to be safe. Whereas someone who wants to control you is taking it a little bit further. Like in my example, we had an app to try and keep everyone safe and know where we were. But it went just further than that. It wasn't just where I was. Every time I left the house, an alarm went off on his phone. Every time I came back within a certain radius, he got notified. So he knew exactly when I was coming. So he could actually change what he was doing.
Alyson, can I ask you something?
Yes.
Are you happy?
These days, very.
Yeah. Good.
Very happy.
Good. That's good because the everything's in the past, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Yeah, so you're happy.
And I think, Alyson, you formed What They Don't Tell You. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes.
Something.
Yeah, so trying to find something to do was really, really hard. I'd always didn't think I was worthy or couldn't do anything because of what had happened in the past, and found online, do you want to be a mentor for people in the domestic violence space? And I've got experience with
But hang on a minute, you
disabilities.
thought you weren't worthy, but you must have been proud of your achievement in the police.
I think I was, but because so much had happened since then that it was sort of, I guess in one way that's a recognition, but to me that didn't give me passion and purpose. Like it didn't really light me up. So yes, it was a big achievement, but since then I guess hadn't really been anything since then.
Yes.
So I'd sort of felt lost and stuck. And
How many, when did you leave?
so I was medically discharged in the December 2024 after I'd completed my 15 years.
Okay. Welcome to the free world.
Thank you.
You've got your personality back.
I certainly do now, yes.
Yeah, well, that's when I left. I remember when I used to wear the uniform all the time, and then have a tie with that elastic band, and it's great. And I wasn't a very good dresser, but when I left, I didn't know what to wear, and I'm still shitty at doing a tie. I actually go to David Jones sometimes or Myers and go, have you got those ties with the rubber thing? Do they still have those?
Yeah, I think so.
With the elastic
so
one.
it's already pre-done up.
But when you leave, you sort of get your personality back because, like for, g'day driver, how you going? You're always talking to crooks and stuff, and you almost become a bit regimented, and you start talking like,
Very much so.
Yeah, and then you realise, Jesus, and all of a sudden we're out of that system. And somebody said to me, what's it like being an ex-member, Michael? I said, it's like a bucket of water and you pull your fist out, a few ripples and then it's gone, Yeah?
Yep.
And so you're out of the job then, and then a lot of idle time, and then you found this counselling.
So I'd been trying different things over the years because being medically discharged, we're actually on workers' comp as well. And I hated being tied to the system.
Yes.
Because you often hear of the changes, well, you've got your payments now, you don't. And I didn't want to have a house, have kids, and then go, all right, you've got no payments as of tomorrow.
Yes.
So I always tried different opportunities.
Good.
Started with Q-Tax, then I got into Thermomix and tried other like NLP and different activities to try and really work on myself and understand myself better and how I could contribute back. And then, as I said, I found this DV mentor advocacy group and joined that. And that's where it probably all started. And then part of that was, well, you can advocate for others, you can stand up for everyone else. And it was like, at this point in time, it was in April, I was being told I was a vexatious complainant. The police wouldn't listen to any of the reported breaches. That it really had me thinking.
When was that? While you were in the job?
No, this is after. This was April this year, so
Right.
only a few months ago.
Oh.
So the relationship had ended, I had a temporary protection order. Oh. The full order had been granted, but I had constant breaches. Like I was dealing with police 3, 4, 5 times a week and being told that I was the problem. I was the vexatious one. He was making complaints. And it was really hard going, well, what have I done wrong? And part of this mentoring group, we were talking about, well, if someone had come to me, I could advocate for them and stand up for them. So I've like, well, hang on. I want to know why I'm vexatious. I want to know why nothing is done. So I pulled up my big girl panties, sent an email and booked an appointment with the police. 3 hours on the 9th of April I spent at the police asking why they weren't taking action, why I was vexatious. And then we came to that mentoring call that night and I couldn't sleep. It was like, well, if I've been a police officer and I've experienced domestic violence and the police can railroad me and won't take action, how does everyone else feel? And that's where What They Don't Tell You was born. So the name just came out. It's like, well, what don't they tell you? If you don't know, you don't know. Once you know, you do. So it started and it's very brand new in its infancy, but so many people have reached out going, we wish we knew this when we were going through the situation, because it's very much designed to use the lived experience as well as the qualification and skills I've gained since then to be able to bridge that gap between the systems and survivors. So whether or not it's police, the courts, NDIS, Centrelink, housing, any of those systems which keep us, I guess, locked down and we have to conform and fit the box for to get any help and support, to be able to help show there's other ways, to get people connected the right way, break those codependent relationships that they may have formed when they were in that relationship, to give them that power, give them the independence, because no one's going to advocate for themselves better than you. You know the truth.
No, that's so important. And viewers, a lot of people who split up, they, like Alyson was saying, they're codependent, you know, and they split up and straight away they get on the dating apps and stuff because they're too scared to be by themselves. But I think if we're broken, we need to heal before we get into that next relationship. And that's right, because sometimes you speak to people who are dating somebody and they're still going through a divorce. You know, you get all that negative stuff in it. It's important just to take some time out, isn't it, to really reflect, do you think?
Definitely.
Before you re-engage.
Well, we've also got to remember everyone likes to blame the other person. But hang on, there's always two in a situation, sometimes more. You're part of it. What did you do to contribute as well? You can't blame it all on someone else.
Yeah, well, that's
what did you allow to happen? What did you not stand up for? And I'm not trying to victim blame here and say that you've allowed something to happen or it's okay to hurt people physically, emotionally. But if you're not going to advocate for yourself and say, look, that's enough, I don't want to be called names, I don't want to be told I'm fat or whatever else, you've got to take a little bit of responsibility to say, well, hang on, if I want this to change, I've got to step up and change as well. Let them know it's not acceptable, reach out for help, because they're probably doing the best that they know in the situation. And that's what we've got to remember. Everyone's come from a different past. We've all got different experiences, which has got us to where we are today. And people forget that there's a lot of intergenerational stuff. Before we were all born, we experienced our mothers and our grandmothers, because that's when we all formed as those embryos. So we've got generations of experience before we even became human on this world.
Geez, a human being human is bloody tough, isn't it? Very complex. Enough. You know, not only have we got ourselves, but we've got all the, grandparents and everything. That's why meditation's so important. Do you meditate, Alyson?
I certainly do.
Me too.
It's the first thing I do every morning.
Me too. How do you do it?
I get up, listen to an app for probably 10 minutes, and then I start my day and,
And then you show gratitude?
Yeah, definitely go show gratitude.
It's that hour of power.
Go and watch the sun shine and just enjoy that changes. And it's a great reminder of how quickly life changes.
The hour of power. So, that's right. It's so nice. And when the days when you don't meditate, you really feel it, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
How irritating the mind can be.
What are you doing with yourself now? Are you working?
So, as I said, full-time mum to my 3 amazing kids. We homeschool. So I've only got the 8-year-old that I'm still homeschooling. Miss 13's taken herself off to school, and now really stepping into What They Don't Tell You to really create an amazing safe space that's providing mentoring, advocacy to really help both men and women who are experiencing the system, who are feeling like they're broken, that they're alone, they're not being heard or seen, to help them build that independence so they can go on, change their future, change their life's future, and keep making a difference for more and have this ripple effect going on.
There's a lot
it's
of
going to take
people
more than just one.
Out there that are going through it?
Surprisingly, yes. Most people don't realise how big an issue it is. But most people you talk to, and especially if you ask someone, have you ever experienced domestic violence? They'll go, no. But whenever you go, have you experienced abuse? And they usually stop and think, because abuse is so much broader and it can include anything. So it can include your physical violence, but it can be your name calling, your gaslighting, your blaming, your financial control. There's so many more areas of abuse that most people, when they think about it, have suffered it at some point in time. And it doesn't always have to be domestic abuse. Like, how many of us have kids, when we take it back out, we're called names? That's usually the first experience that we're experiencing abuse and trauma. And if we don't heal from it and we don't manage it properly and process it, it gets trapped in our body, which then locks it in. And then when something repeats, we're going back through those cycles, and that's where we can get illness and sickness because we're not actually dealing with what's happened. And many people, because they're not aware, because there's such a focus on the physical side of things, the things that people and other people can see, which are easy to believe, that it's so hard. And that's why we really need to change it, because so many are going through coercive control, things that you don't see. And from a person who on one side of the fence is your mate at the pub, but then go home and might abuse his children. Again, it could be a wife who controls the children, controls the partner. So it goes both ways. And it can happen to anyone.
Why do you think when people see the red flags, why do you think they choose to ignore it and just keep going in the relationship? And what can they do when they start seeing the red
flags? I guess the biggest thing is, how many people actually know what a red flag is? Because we don't talk about it. We don't talk about what's a healthy relationship. There is so little education on what is a healthy relationship, what should a friendship be like, even with friends. And we don't deal with problems when they arise. There's no talking about what's going on. Let's try and problem solve it. It's just ignore, walk away, allow it to continue. So this snowballs. So if we're a young child and we're used to someone telling us what to do, standing over us, how do we know that's any different as an adult? But the other thing is, because there's so much lack of awareness and support, you don't know what to do. But then many a time someone might raise a red flag and go, he's abusing me. And because no one else has seen it, it's like, are you sure? So we're doubting our victims. We're blaming our victims. We're saying it couldn't have happened because I haven't seen it. So we need to stop and actually listen. If someone's saying something that's happened, usually it has happened. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
There's a lot of relationships breaking up at the moment, isn't there?
Huge amount of relationships are breaking up, unfortunately.
And what do you think is causing the breakups?
Could be many, many factors, and it's hard to put one thing on it. Again, awareness of people realising their worth more and realising that they don't want to be in a poor relationship, they don't want to be controlled. But it's also lack of communication. We're not actually talking to each other. We're not sitting down having these tough conversations and building it together. Like, if we have a conversation every week and touch base on how we're going, where we're going, and set those goals together, we're going to be stronger as a team.
Yeah.
But if we don't talk, we don't discuss the good days, the bad days, where we want to go,
It's
what's going to
amazing,
happen?
isn't it? And I heard this saying the other day, a relationship should be an improvement from being single. Yeah?
Definitely.
That's right. Yeah.
Definitely. You need to be the best version of yourself and happy with yourself to be able to attract someone and have that healthy relationship. Otherwise, you're going to bring two unhealthy people together, which are going to clash and fight and cause more issues.
Yeah.
So we really need to do that internal work, be happy with ourselves, love ourselves, know what we want, to then be able to find someone that we want to work with, team up, and build a better future.
That's some great advice. Thanks for coming on, Alyson. And
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back next week. All the very best. Love and best wishes from Michael and Mary.